Hulkling is here, and I know you guys are asking yourself, is he worth the spotlight keys? Is he worth the tokens? Is he worth playing? Is he worth having in your deck? Now, it's a complicated question because, quite frankly, Hulkling is not like most cards. In most cards in Marvel Snap, you kind of have a straight up idea right off the bat to like what you see is what you're going to get. But Emperor Hulkling is more like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That's from something. I'm not sure what it's from. But what I'll tell you is that my experience with Emperor Hulkling has been like kind of frustrating, but at the same time kind of interesting. If you get something bad, he's kind of a dead draw. And there were times we did get Infinite, we did get the Gigantos. It does happen. For some reason, he's getting himself right now, which is a bug. But generally speaking, he seemed okay. And there were times where we got like Arnim Zola, which was pretty cool. But then Arnim Zola, like you top deck him and your board's not set up for it. Very often getting Magneto, we never got Doom. He was just so unreliable that just made me think, like, instead of putting Emperor Hulkling into a deck, why don't you just put Red Hulk into a deck? Why don't you just do the thing that you want to do instead of playing Emperor Hulkling, right? And that's kind of the challenge that we find ourselves in. I got Onslaught a few times, but didn't really run many ongoings. So, super random card, and I think that I just don't see how this card could eventually just break through from a meta perspective. The one thing I will say though is in theory he should age better than other cards because every single time a 6-drop is added to the game, theoretically Emperor Hulkling gets either a buff or a nerf. If the card is being added and it's beneficial to Emperor Hulkling, then that's good, right? So it's the kind of card that's going to change over time. I just don't think it's worth it. I'm going to say that I come away a little disappointed with Emperor Hulkling. And not because there's not moments where it feels great. But I think the major challenge is that if you're someone who has limited resources, limited tokens, limited spotlight keys, I just don't see you dropping everything on Emperor Hulkling. I think that I don't even know what like deck will come out that would potentially use it to the greatest effect. It's just a little too random. And I think that on the Snapchat, we discussed how it feels like a great draft card. And I think that's kind of where it should be. It should be a card dedicated to a draft mode and much less of a constructed. It could see potentially additional play in like, I don't know, Conquest. But even then, when the game's on the line and you're Infinity Conquest and your Emperor Hulkling comes up with Infinite, like it's going to feel bad. It just didn't seem powerful enough to outweigh enough of the cons. And while generally speaking, the 6-drops have powerful abilities, Hulkling doesn't feel like it's going to really be a mainstay in any particular deck. But that didn't stop us from cooking. The decks you're about to see here are straight up aggressive cooks. And so, use them at your own risk. But we did have success with them, but I really want to do some creative stuff. So let's talk about the decks now. And as you can see, we are recording live on Twitch TV here, and use the link in the description down below to join us on Twitch if you haven't already. But generally speaking, the deck was fine. One of my favorite games I've played in Snap in the longest time was achieved with this deck. But again, you're running Quicksilver Domino, which is kind of, not great. And so that brings to question whether or not you want to play a deck like this. But I think that Wiccan and the Wave Ramp does reduce the possibility that something like a Hulkling would be a negative hit. Very similar to that particular deck, we did this one here with the Maria Hill Kitty Pryde Athena based package, trying to play more on curve, potentially running Wiccan if you're able to get your curve going, and again, having that Doom, Odin, Hulkling, Magneto combination at the back. You could replace Magneto with something like a Red Hulk if you so desire. Two very similar decks. They were similar in design and their intentions. We just had different takes on them. This one here was by far my favorite. Very interesting from a cook perspective. The idea here was use Hydra Bob and Martyr because they're not seeing play, and basically put them into separate locations. You can control kind of Hydra Bob if in the event there's like something that pops up. But what you want to do is use Nomura to get things above 10 power, discount the Scar. You also get a chance to just kind of use Hulkling as like, oh, look, we got something cool. We can play it in conjunction with Scar. We were very often getting Scar to 0 power here. Viper is great, and you're like, Viper, why is Viper here? Well, we're seeing so much junk in the meta right now. It's one of the ways that you counter Arishem and Loki by basically restricting their ability to use their energy cheat effectively anyways. And so you are seeing lots of like acid arrows. You're seeing lots of Widow's Kisses. And so Viper clears the lanes for Nomura. And what's cool about that is when Viper's by itself, after it kicks over Widow's Bite or whatever, or Widow's Kiss, I should say, Nomura gets that to 10 power, which discounts the Scar. This was my favorite deck, but I don't think it's in the final form. I still want to cook with it a little bit, but if you're interested in trying it, you can start here. I just really wanted to play Hydration Robert and Martyr, and so this is kind of what kind of got the idea running with Nomura and Cull Obsidian and stuff. I'm going to keep cooking this, but I don't know if the final version will ever actually have Hulkling. And then finally, what we're going to do here is I'll just mention here that Hulkling is going to be probably a very good inclusion in Airsham, because Airsham can afford to have a random card with a random effect and then essentially just kind of use its energy cheat to get it out. And anytime you get it out on turn 5, it's less impactful than closing it out on turn 6. So I do think that at the end of the day, Airsham will be a good place for the Emperor Hulkling. Now, as for Emperor Hulkling himself, I'm just going to reiterate that it's getting a pass from me. It's not the kind of card that I think you should be investing heavily on. Usually, I recommend that you wait until Sunday or Monday before kind of determining how you're going to use your resources. I'd be very surprised if there's a deck that has very intentional synergy with Emperor Hulkling where you can't get it anywhere else. It just does not have that synergistic potential. It seems super random, and while that can be beneficial, I think that the best Marvel Snap decks, generally speaking, they build on unfair advantages that the deck synergies are designed to kind of generate, right? And Emperor Hulkling's not going to do that for you. It's just simply too random. Is it a fun card? Yes. Would it be a cool draft card? Yes. But is it worth 6,000 tokens right now and rolling spotlight keys, considering we have an absolute banger season coming up as well? No. I think this is probably going to be a skip for me. And if you want to roll on it, then go for it. But for me, it's definitely a skip. From there, though, what I will say is we did have some absolute banger highlights that were tremendously fun to record on here on Twitch TV, so definitely give those a watch. They're coming up next. And if you haven't yet already, consider subscribing. We're on our way to 100,000 subscribers. We're hoping to get there by year's end, and we can only do it with your help. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy these gameplay highlights. Okay, we got an onslaught. We can't really utilize it too much, though. It's not precisely what we're looking for. This is not the droid that I'm looking for. We do have Glad. Got a good little curve here. Wouldn't mind saucing Glad out there, causing some havoc. No pun intended. Right on time.
Right on time.
Well. That's a murderous Squirrel Girl gameplay. Could go Wakan here. Maybe. Still 7 power. I think we send it here. Changing the location, I see. That's fine. All right. Good for Zoo. I see you there, sir. We Odin Wiccan. That puts us at what? 10 power next turn? So we get Hulkling plus Copycat at a minimum. And that is actually Ant-Man. Some potential copium here, but this might be fun.
Are ye worthy?
Okay. Makari coming down too. Nice. Move nothing. Do this. Win here. Flip it. Win this. Makari comes for the dub. Easy snap.
Oh, snap.
Let's go. Easiest game of my life. We're using both. Oh, we're going 8. I ain't leaving. As Leonardo DiCaprio once said, I'm not leaving.
Behold my mighty hand.
Let's go. Let's go. Makari? Makari! Let's go, gamers!
Victory.
You had to believe! One of the best cards in Marvel Snap. I told you on the Snapchat. No one believed me. Nobody believed me. One of the greatest games in Marvel Snap history. Carried by Makari. You have Hulkling as the Onslaught, who gets the copycat Ant-Man. It's ridiculous. We got some gameplay here. First, oh, Hulkling is now a Magento. It's not the worst, not the worst. Unfortunately, we're not able to play Hydra Bob, and their Red Hulk loves that apparently. Much Sag. Come on, give me something. Give me something. Okay, we can Hydra Bob. Hydration Robert does come out. They play Magic. All right. So this, we might have a bit of a problem here, honestly. I'm somewhat concerned. So Hydration Robert, we're gonna throw down Skill Obsidian here. They're not gonna like my Enchantress. We're gonna hold the Enchantress for now. I'm gonna do this for a sec. Okay, we got some Jubilee game. Is this Tribunal gameplay?
I am Iron Man.
Oh, I see. I see. I see you there, sir. Don't mind me snapping here. I'm just gonna casually, absolutely demolish your cheeks. It's gonna be fine. I mean, I could Enchantress right now in case he Jubilees or in case he Mystiques. But I'm gonna do this. I think this is very sensual. This is gonna be Mystique, right? Oh, it's Hulkling. Bro. Actually just hit me with a G-Man. G-Man Hulkling, our first game. Our literal first game playing Hulkling. We get G-Manned. Oh yeah, that's pretty big, I guess. Oh yeah, we die. Well, that's a game. I didn't expect that to happen. I don't think anybody did. Yeah, that's our first game with Hulkling. And we got G-Man. Let's go Jeff here. Could Cassandra Nova now, honestly. Gwenpool Surfer. I like this deck a lot, honestly. I think it's a cool deck.
Snap.
The Onslaught doesn't help us tremendously, but I think that the 10 power Cat Marvel does. The only risk we run here is that Hydra Ball might block us, but then we can move Jeff. Okay, Sarah. Enchantress not particularly useful against Sarah. I don't think we ever win left. She loses 4 power. We do this. Yeah, their Killmonger is what makes me nervous, but these Gwenpool decks haven't been running Killmonger. Why is Viper in the deck? It's a Nomura deck, and we're against a lot of junk.
Opponent snap.
They're snapping 8. Going 8 cubes here. 10, 15. Hydra Bob might move middle. She moves here +2. Snap moves Bob. Let's see if it goes middle. I think I'm okay here. I'm going to go 8. They did have Skillmonger. They just lose, though.
Behold my mighty
Yeah.
hand.
So Hulkling's just being big was enough there.
Victory.
He didn't really do anything with his onslaught. But he's buffed by Wakandan Embassy. And, oh, they're gone. Yeah, fair enough. GG's. Yeah, just chonky boys out here.